Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Handhelds. I'm Joey, and today we're going to talk about some tips and tricks for the Anbernic RG35XXSP, which I am absolutely loving, and don't worry, these are actually good tips and tricks, so this is not going to be a time-wasting video. Let's get into it. First tip, and this is the most important one for everybody, I think. Shaders on this device aren't actually just for looks. They fix frame pacing. It's an easy test. If you turn off shaders and you go and play Super Mario World, you'll see that there's all kinds of frame issues. Turn shaders back on and everything is good. Here's the problem. I don't like shaders, and the included one scan lines is just awful. So for those of you like me who need to have a shader applied for frame issues, but don't like the look of shaders, let me help. On your computer, head to the Sharp Shimmerless Shader GitHub page, and it's linked in the description, and click the green code button, then download zip. Connect your device's SD card to your PC. You can use the operating system card for this, it doesn't matter. And copy the shaders_glsl folder that you extracted from that zip over to the root of the SD card. We don't need the other folder and we don't need the README. Put the SD card back into your device and turn it on. Head to Settings, RetroArch Settings, and turn Simple Game Menu off. Then head to App Center, Apps, typically TF01 if you have two options here, then scroll down and click Shaders. Press A when you get the prompt to disable them. This will turn it off globally, so no more shaders on anything. But don't worry, we're going to fix that. Head back to App Center, File Manager, and on the left, navigate to MNT, Vendor, Deep, Retro, Shaders. And on the right, just navigate to MNT, MMC. Highlight the shaders_glsl folder that we copied over, push X, then select the first option for copy to the left side. Push menu button after and then quit. Here comes the fun part, and you'll need to repeat these steps for each system core. So, open a game from any system, push the menu button once it loads, scroll down to Shaders, and it might be off, so just enable it. Scroll down to Shader Passes and change it to 1 if it's not already enabled. Select shader number 0, and if it didn't bring you to the MNT Vendor Deep Retro Shaders folder, just navigate your way there, and you're going to see the shaders_glsl folder that we copied over. Then inside, there's going to be a shaders folder. Then inside of that, you're going to see a sharp-shimmerless.glsl file. It's the shortest of them in file names. You don't need the other ones. Select it, and then scroll up and click Apply Changes. Then head to Save Preset, Save Core Preset, back out to the quick menu, scroll to Overrides, and Save Core Overrides. So what we just did there was apply the shader and then we saved it for the core. Because of the way Anbernic has set up the RetroArch configurations, this is the only way to get it to apply and stick. Like I said, you'll have to repeat these steps here from when you open the game for other cores and systems, unfortunately. But once you do, you have the benefits of proper frames and a shader that doesn't look like a shader, which is great. Second tip, enable quick shutdown in the apps section. Out of the box, when you close the lid of the SB, it's going to go to sleep. The problem is you're going to lose 3 to 5% of battery per hour, and since it's not a real sleep, in 24 hours your battery is completely dead. A great alternative for this for a lot of people, and it might not be for everybody, but is having it shut down when you close the lid instead of going to sleep. But also, if you do this while you're in a game, it'll boot right back into the same spot of where you were. So it's kind of a quick save on shutdown option. To do this, from the home screen, head to App Center, Apps, Quick Shutdown Set, Y to enable, and then Y to set the shutdown. If you do this, you're also going to want to head to Settings from the main menu, Lock Screen, and change the timer, as with the default 1-minute timer, the device is going to shut down after a minute. If this feature doesn't work for you, I know that MUOS is working on a sleep then shutdown feature, meaning that maybe it'll sleep for a few minutes and then shut down after that. So if that's a feature you want, keep an eye out for MUOS. Third tip, let's enable retro achievements. Head to Settings from the home screen, RetroArch Settings, start RetroArch, then Yes, Settings, User Interface, Menu Item Visibility, Settings, and enable achievements. Back out to Settings, Achievements, and you can now log in with your retro achievements information. Back out to main menu after, Configuration File, and save current configuration. Fourth tip, if you're like me and you hate overlays, Anbernic made it very easy in their software. Make sure you do the steps in the first tip first, or this won't work. Specifically, you just have to disable Simple Game menu. Head to the App Center, Apps, Bezels, and push A to turn it off. This is going to turn off all of the overlays for all of the systems. Now, you might want the GBA overlay, since it's kind of cool for a lot of people. And we can re-enable that for Game Boy Advance only, or any system you want, you can just re-enable it for that specific system. So, head to RA Game from the home screen, go to GBA, and jump into any GBA game. Push the menu button on the device, scroll down to On-Screen Overlay, enable Display Overlay, then head to Overlay Preset, and push A, and go to Parent Directory, then the GBA folder. Then select the default.cfg file. Head back and then Overrides, scroll down and save Core Overrides. You can repeat these steps for any other systems that you like the overlay for. Just obviously replace GBA with whatever system folder that you're in. Fifth tip, if you haven't bought it yet, I would suggest not purchasing this device with the expensive or any added SD cards directly from anybody that you buy it from. So where it says 64 gigabytes, which is the operating system card, plus 128 or 256 or anything like that, don't buy it. Buy the cheapest option that you can get. First, the ROM cards that they include as a second option are unbranded, they're low quality, they're prone to failure, but also the ROMs that come on these SD cards, both of them, are just bad. So if you take one quick look, every day on Reddit, you're going to see people having issues with Pokemon not saving, and they have to replace the ROM for it to save. That is a number one issue, is just ROMs not saving. But there are so many other issues with those ROMs that it just never makes sense to buy those ROM cards. Now, if you were one of the people who did accidentally buy those cards, or maybe your operating system card came unbranded, I have a guide on how to clone SD cards to a branded SD card so that you can get that out of the way at least, so your SD card will be fine, and then you can systematically just start replacing ROMs as you go. I'm not going to give you that entire job to do right away, but you're going to want to just replace those ROMs as you go along, or you're just going to have issues. Check the description for both of those guides. Sixth tip, if you like being able to automatically load state when loading a game and automatically save state when exiting a game, well, Anbernic kind of fudged this one. You can't go and do it in RetroArch settings, since it just doesn't save for all the other systems in this model. So instead, we have to do what we've been doing, and we have to go into each system and pick a game and set them that way. So head into RA Game and pick a system. I'm going to choose SFC for SNES. Then open any game. Push the menu button, B to head to Settings, Saving, scroll down and enable Auto Save State if it isn't already. Then enable Auto Load State. Push B to back out, and head back to the main menu, quick menu, overrides, and save core overrides. Unfortunately, you're going to have to do this for every core for each system just because of how everything's locked down, and you can thank Anbernic for that one. 7th tip, don't use game rooms. It sucks. It just sucks. Just don't use it. Use RA Game to launch all of your games, and then you can use history, your favorites, or all of that, but just pretend that game rooms just doesn't exist. 8th tip, if you hate the LED light for whatever reason, head to App Center, Apps, Power LED switch, and push A to turn it off. 9th tip, if you bought the cheapest model without the extra SD card as I suggested, and now you want to be able to add more than the 64GB allows on the operating system card, so you just want to add your own SD card to the second slot, well, pick up a branded new SD card, and I would personally suggest a 128GB one, which is more than enough for this, and an SD card reader, which both are in the description. Connect the SD card to your PC, and then you want to download Rufus from the Rufus website. Open it and make sure that your SD card is the drive, then change boot selection to non-bootable, and change file system to FAT32 or large FAT32. Then press start. When it's done, take that SD card and put it into the turned off device in the slot TF2, with the original card still in TF1. Then turn it on. When you see the home screen, you can turn it off. It just created all of the folders that we needed. Connect your new SD card back to your PC, and you should see all of your folders, including a ROMs folder, with all of the systems inside. Feel free to just add your games to each system folder, and they'll show up in the device once you do so. 10th tip, if you want colors in Game Boy games, or maybe you want color correction to match the display of a real Game Boy Advance in Game Boy Advance games, we can do that. Steps are the same for both. Open either a Game Boy game or a Game Boy Advance game, whichever you want, then press Menu, Core Options, and for Game Boy games, it's right there under GB Colorization, and you can set it to Auto or GBC or whatever you want. For Game Boy Advance games, it's under Video, Color Correction, and you can set it to either Auto or GBA or whatever you want again. Nothing to save here, it's going to remember it. Bonus tip for all of you Pokemon lovers out there, I love using fast forward, but it's just way too fast on this device thanks to the power that we have. So here's how you can lower the fast forward rate to something that's a lot easier to manage so you can play super fast Pokemon without issue. Open the game, and I'm going to use a Game Boy Pokemon here. Push Menu, B to Settings, Frame Throttle, and change Fast Forward Rate. Personally, I found that 5x seems to be a great speed for Game Boy. Back to Main Menu, Quick Menu, Overrides, and Save Core Override. Repeat this for any systems that you want to change the frame rate speed for if it's too fast or anything like that. And that's going to be it for this one. If you want box art for this, or maybe you want to learn how to update your device just in case an update comes out, I have a complete setup guide for the RG35XX devices, and that'll apply to this as well. And I show both of those options for box art and updating so you can get the most out of your device, and just another video for you to watch. If you do watch that video, RetroArch settings are going to be different because of how locked down this is, so just keep that in mind that a lot of that won't apply, but if you stick to box art and updating, you'll be fine. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow. Come join me on the Discord to get all of these tips earlier than when I post a video. Support me on Patreon if you like my videos, and hope you all have a good one.